Hey everyone, Peachy out here, and it's just afternoon. It's just turned noon, and we're gonna get ready to tearing this head down because I'm gonna go drop it off today to go get it machined because we're gonna build this baby as soon as possible. And so, what we're gonna end up doing right now is finding the socket in this 16. Be right back. I want to make a mess here. So we're gonna tear this guy down. What's up, ¿Qué onda, Marvin Euro? All right, so I grabbed a 16 millimeter socket, shallow wall is what we call it, or shallow, but deep socket, a rubber mallet, and you're gonna need your little magnetic tool, your little magnet tool here. Okay, that's all you need to tear down pretty much the head to take the keepers and the holders down. So you're gonna go here. And to keep this straight, and you just bang it with your rubber mallet, and you give it a good whack, and it should pop out the keeper. If not, try it one more time. That should be enough. There's one of them out. Let me go take it out. I'll show you guys what the keeper looks like. This little guy right here. These have to pop out. Very simple. It's got to keep repeating. They're super tiny, so don't lose these. These are super important, guys. Don't lose them. No, just take it all apart, man. There's no particular way. It's just literally just taking it all apart. Sorry about that, guys. AC just turned on in the house, and I'm outside because it's so hot. There we go. Gotta find the happy spot for it, and you guys can see there's your keeper and retainer right there. These don't need to go back in any specific order at all. And then there's the spring, and then the valve will come out through the bottom, just like that. Very, very nice. I'm gonna go grab a little container for them, so I don't lose them. But you want to keep your intake side on its own and the exhaust side also on its own. So I'll be right back. Give me a second. All right. So here are my little trays. Intake and exhaust. Just separate them like that. We're going to work our way down. What's going on, Aleski? Rob, I do reuse some of the hoses. Just depends on condition, that's for sure. One. show you guys. Out and spring. Out and working my way through it. Gotta do 20 of these. Doing my clutch. Can I reuse the bolts? No. You cannot reuse the bolts on your clutch. Those are one-time use. Motor, myself, videos have been huge help. Awesome, that's good. That's what I want to hear, that the videos have been a huge help. That's the whole point, is so I can help you as best I can. You guys can save as much money as possible. And that's kind of the goal, is the more money we save, the more money we can invest on more fun parts, like bigger turbos and stuff. I mean, anything I can do to help, man, guys. That's for sure. I'm down to one more valve on this side. There we go. We're going to turn the head around, and then we're going to do the other side. That's awesome, Rob. I'm glad you enjoy that. Okay. Now we're on the exhaust side. There's only 8 valves on the exhaust. So same process. You might want to get a larger socket. We'll find out right now. Nope. Just keep it in the middle. Let's see. I got 2 out of 8. Let's keep going. Ah, hands are getting a little tired. Let's see. Yo, what's up, Rebel Against Him? Can we get contact with the place you take your head and block to? Yes. It's actually Paradise Motorsports in San Marcos. Is that you going back to the MK2? Yes, we are going back to the Mark II and Corrado stuff now. Rebel Against. Get yourself a Bentley manual, man. A Bentley manual is everything you need to know about building your motor. It literally walks you step by step the entire build process, and every single specification you need to focus and worry about. That's how I got into building these motors, because it's straight. It literally is straightforward, man. It does not steer you away in any way, because it focuses all on OEM specifications. So that's what we're doing. Just building an OEM block, but just with higher performance parts. That's the difference. Come on. There we go. All right. Finally, all of them are out. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 keepers that I can't get to right now because the valves are in the way. So we're going to pop the valves out right now. How long did it take me to learn how to do this? Months, man. It's not something you learn off the bat. But my whole point of my channel here is to teach you faster than months. I want you guys to learn this in days. So that's why we walk you step by step this entire process. This entire process is very slow, but if you guys focus on the build and you take your time on your build, I guarantee you'll have it done pretty quick. Those are all the exhaust valves. All I'm doing is just pushing them right back out with my hand here. These are the intake valves. And I'm going to show you guys upon inspection how clean this engine, this block, or the head is. It's ridiculously clean. Again, the original owner and the new owner of this car did a really, really good job in maintaining and owning this engine, because man, it's impressively clean. Okay, so one thing that a lot of places or machine shops will focus on is the head and its machining. And I'm going to show you guys up close here, or as close as I can get you. Actually, I'll get you guys in really close. Hold on. And you'll see here what I mean. We're going to inspect this head together. And you guys will see the valve seats are still polished. You see that? Whoever owned this took a really good job making sure proper fuel was being used. Oil change were constant. The car never ran super lean or super rich. Yeah, there is some carbon buildup. You guys can see that right there. But that's pretty much what they're known for. I mean, you build carbon. Well, it's funny. Exhaust valve, intake valve 1, 2, 3, and 4 have the almost identical amount of carbon buildup. Very, very odd. I've never seen that before in a head. But you guys can see that carbon buildup is all on the same one, which is very neat on the intake side. Spark plugs are still in here. You guys can see that's pretty cool and how that sits there and does its job as well. But yeah, man, look how nice these valve seats are. They're beautiful. So when I take this to the machine shop, they probably won't have to grind them down at all or anything at all. I mean, it's really really nice. So I'm very happy. I don't see very much in the sense of pitting, where the coolant was or the head gasket was failing, and the coolant was never serviced properly on these cars. One thing that to notice on these cars is when coolant isn't changed properly, or they use cheap coolant, like they just run water or that green stuff, you'll get something what we call pitting, and it's like it looks like little acne spots or craters on the head and on the block itself where the coolant passes through. If you see that, that means it's just the head gasket's failing, and um, they just use cheap stuff on here. It's just how we can tell. Another cool thing is the valve. If you look at the valve, it's super clean on top. Very, very minimal carbon buildup. I mean, it's impressive on how these valves are nice and nice and. I mean, these technically are reusable, for sure. Um, just have them lapped and cleaned up, and then pop them back in. But since we're building a high horsepower application, you can't do that. These valves can't handle high horsepower. They're not meant for that. So that kind of sucks. But at the same time, I mean, they're good valves. Um, I mean, you can see the oil changes were very constant. So you'll notice the little ring right here is really nice. It doesn't have like odd coloring. It's a well take. It's so freaking well taken care of. I'm so happy because this is going in the Corrado. Oh man, it's gonna be exciting. Super super exciting. Um, Now that we got that taken apart, we're gonna lay this back down. We still got to get the rest of the keepers that fell down in here. I got to use a little magnetic tool to do that. Let's see, Rob. I wrote down every part of your November shopping list video. What do you say max power you can get out of that shopping list? Honestly, that shopping list that we did for my friend Ian's car, about 4 to 600 horsepower, depending on turbo application, easily. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm inspecting the head, making sure all the keepers are gone. And then to verify that, we want to count them. So if there's 8 keepers, there's eight retainers. There's 16 keepers in total. So retainer and keeper. These little guys are keepers, and these are 3 grooved, is what they call them. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Oh, missing one. Hope I did my count right. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. Nope. Yeah, I'm missing a retainer. And this is why you guys got to look for that. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. See? Geez, 16. Let's see here. Cool. At what point should one talk to their tuner in regards to certain parts to select. I don't want to pick up stuff and then be told to get something else. Your tuner gets involved when you start doing fueling and tuning. So depending on the turbo you use. So depending on which turbo you purchase, you're going to be like, oh, I bought this turbo. You're going to hit up the tuner, and the tuner is going to be like, okay, that turbo, they're going to want to know the specifications of that specific turbo that you got. They then will suggest what injectors, um, fuel pressure regulator, and pretty much what pump you should be going into. If you're trying to stay under the 500 horsepower pump, you can buy a general high flow pump and then call it a day. It's always a plus to upgrade the fuel rail and the fuel pressure regulator. However, keep in mind, you can't just be buying those parts and expect the car to be fast or run properly. Your tuner will make sure that you get the right parts based off what they're used to doing during their build, okay? Very, very important. The engine, the way that we build them, I technically state that my builds are for power ranges of 350 to 450 safely. I mean, you can definitely go to 500, 600, but at that time, you're going to be investing a ton more money into transmission work versus engine. I mean, by the time you're making that kind of power, then you're definitely going to be looking into a whole other market of parts and stuff, because that's a lot of power for these little motors. What's going on, Bangin'? You're welcome. You're welcome, Rob. Definitely, you're welcome. So every time I build these, I like to build them for 350, 450 power goals. That's what I realistically want to make out of these motors. And they're phenomenal for daily use at that power range. Once you go over that range, there's a lot of problems that can arise during that type of power. So definitely be careful with that, guys. If you guys are trying to go into the 500 plus 500 range, be prepared to spend some big bucks and breaking stuff. You know, definitely. So now we're done. The whole head is now fully disassembled. Like I showed you guys, keep everything separate. Intake side with retainers and keepers. And then, oh my, sorry guys. Exhaust side, same process. Keep them all separated. Make sure you don't clean them off. Leave them covered in oil. Very, very important. Sasha Brown, I don't know much about BJX engines, so I can't recommend them. I don't know anything about them. So now we're back at the block, the bottom end. What we're going to do is actually, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Not smart. We're going to turn this back around. Other way. Okay, because we got to take out the oil filter and the housing right now. Sasha, I don't know about those motors. I wish I could give you more advice on those. I've never owned one, so I can't give any information. I only provide information on what I've done and what I worked on, you know, for based off my experiences. God. Yeah, I mean, those are European Mark IV motors, technically. But again, I don't know much about them. We got a flutter. Yes, I just hammered in my flathead screwdriver into this oil filter to remove it because that thing was in there way too tight. So I get you guys closer over here. Getting all the action. There you go. So the reason why I got to remove the oil filter, there's a screw or nut right underneath it. Right here. So I can remove the oil cooler and then I can remove the actual housing here. So be right back. I gotta get the socket for that. Hey mate, loving the content. Much love from London. Ah, thank you, sir. Thank you. Sasha, we're gonna be using the factory crank on this build. You don't need much for these. The cranks are pretty solid. All right. Let's still continue to drain. Wrong size. Wrong size. Yeah, the oil cooler nut is 27 millimeters. Just so you guys know, if you guys ever have to replace this guy, and it doesn't go on very tight. I believe it's like 18 foot-pounds that holds this entire thing together, and the nut's super super tiny. Well, slim. What I mean. Careful not to lose this. This is a hard to get nut right here. This guy right here. Look how thin that is. It's pretty crazy. That's what holds that cooler. That's what keeps water and oil separated on that part. Andrew, what brands of tools? Well, I'm kind of a mix. When it comes to hand tools and everything, I stick with either cheap stuff. Honestly, I work with Harbor Freight and also AutoZone stuff because they guarantee them for life. And if it ever breaks, I can walk into a store and AutoZone is everywhere here in California. So you can walk in or walk out with a brand new tool. Same with Harbor Freight. I have them everywhere where I live. So it's convenient. Now, when it comes to like power tools, I tend to stay with like the brand names, DeWalt, Makita, uh, because I know power tools are a whole other scenario. Um, One thing that I get a lot of grief for is because I use torque wrenches from Harbor Freight when I torque everything down, but I do have them calibrated to make sure they are are hitting the specification that we gotta have them hit. I don't use them right out of the box, that's for sure. We're gonna give this a little tap. That sucker comes right out, just like that. Okay, the reason why we have to take that off is because we have to get access to the two bolts that are right back here that hold this entire housing together. Okay, guys? Is everything on an AWP head the same port? Same ports and larger? Yes. AWP head's identical to a standard AWP head, except for the fact that everything's larger. So it has much better flow. So when you do buy parts for that head, you just have to buy it for an AEB, not for an AWP. Daniel, where do you get them calibrated? I actually have a good friend that works for Snap-on. He'll take it apart and calibrate it on his truck for me. So I usually have a Snap-on truck guy that does it for me. I know the irony behind that, by the way. But he's a good friend of mine, so I can't really give him that. So you got to make friends with Snap-on truck. Buy a couple parts here and tools every now and then. But I would never invest 100% of my money into Snap-on. You know, I just don't have that kind of money, and it's not realistic for me or for you guys as well. What's up, Tiny? What's going on, Three Bowman? Always late. All right, got my socket here. Stick my. That was already broken loose. Now these bolts that are coming off of here are not reusable. They're one-time use bolts because you have to stretch them. So remember that, guys, for future applications. When you're building this, one-time use bolts. Oh, more oil dripping. Yes, I am painting the block. I am painting the block, but I haven't decided what paint we're going to be going with because that's your guys' decision. So when we get to that point in time, which will probably be later this week, so next week we'll make a deciding factor on what's it called, what paint you guys want to do, what scheme we're going to be going with. I'll be showing you guys the Corrado engine bay when we get to all of that, okay? Right now I'm just tearing this whole thing apart and getting out of here as fast as I can because I'm kind of limited on time right now. Yes, you can use an Audi head on this. They're identical. Tiny, anything's reusable with enough Loctite? Nah, fool. Do that for yourself, but I won't do it for my friends or family, aka you guys. This guy. Tiny, you're so Mexican, dude. Seriously? You're like super Mexican, Tiny. I love it. Okay. So, I mean, you guys saw this. The block completely taken down is torn down completely to nothing. So you guys can see all that. One thing you guys are gonna have to remember when you take this to your machine shop, they are gonna need the crank and the main caps. Okay. Plasti dip the motor. Be freaking banging. Okay, so my machine shop, every time I take it to them, they request the crank, the main caps to be just mounted. They need it so they can put it on their machine to get honed and everything. That's what I think it is. I don't remember what they use it for. On top of that, because they do have to balance the crank and everything and polish it. So we are going to get the crank balanced. Now, for you guys, I'm going to talk to them and see what they're going to do for me on a port and polish on the head. If it's over budget, we're not going to do it. But if it's within a decent amount of price range, we will get it done. We'll have the head ported and polished so we can get some extra ponies out of the head. But if not, unfortunately, I'm not gonna do it. Just so you guys know, I'm trying to be respectable within my budget and the price range that I have in mind. So, but this is already done. I'm gonna put the crank back in it right now, and then I gotta get ready and take this to drop it off at the shop. Evan Hernandez, do I have to do anything to make the Audi head work on the VW block? No, there's nothing special, but just keep in mind that the head does have ports in different spots for the coolant and all that. So not everything will probably made up correctly when you get it in the engine bay. That might be the issue. I've never done it myself personally, but technically they're all the same. There's some, I'm telling you, there's like holes are in different spots due to the fact because Audis are longitudinal versus Mark IVs are the transverse platform. So you will have to figure that out if you do that swap. Okay. Again, I would love to do the TSI crank, or a TDI crank is also what it's known for. The TDI crank will make the engine pretty much a 2-liter. But again, that's not realistically in my price range, especially since I forked out a fortune to get the car painted and restored. So we try to be within reason, because you got to keep in mind, once the engine's done and running, I still have an interior to finish up in this car, and that also is not cheap to do. You guys kind of understand that. So I have to. This whole car as a whole can't just be the engine. It has to be the engine, the transmission, the interior, the exhaust system. Exhaust systems are not cheap for these for this build. We're going to be doing stainless steel, that's for sure. So I want you guys to understand that we're going to be being smart during this whole entire build process. Since it's going to be given away, I want whoever wins this knows everything that's going into it. Okay, crank going back in. Actually, no, I'll have them do that. I'll leave it out. Never mind. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. You guys are going to, everybody's watching live right now is going to get a sneak peek of the car, okay? So be ready. I'm going to show you guys the car. All right. It's right there. All right. It's under that cover. Be ready for it. I'm going to take it apart right now for you guys. I can't get you guys any closer because my webcam is attached to my computer, but it's right there. Give me just a second. You guys got to understand, you guys are the only people that have to see this right now. So I want to build some hype. Get excited. There she is, everyone. That is the Corrado you guys are going to win. Nardo Gray, fully painted inside and out. We're going to be doing Nardo Gray with black trim. Whew, she's a sexy little beast. See if I get you guys a little bit closer. Hopefully you guys can see that better. But there it is. It's got a 3-stage paint job, 3 coats of clear. It's so hard to see it, but it's super, super shiny. Tiny's seen it in person. He doesn't live far from here. Or Joe Garcia on the messenger, but that's it right there, guys. Haven't decided yet on the wheels. We haven't decided yet on the interior style, but we got a lot of ideas. So be excited, everyone. Be super excited for this. Did anybody else screenshot that? All right. No more. I tease you guys too much. So that's the car, okay? And believe me or not, I put $10,000 into that paint job, okay? 10. And that included almost 70 hours of body work, okay, guys? The paint on this is supposed to last pretty much a lifetime. I definitely did not cheap out on the quality of the paint. I did not cheap out on anything. And the reason why I did that is because I want you guys to understand that this is the type of build that I believe whoever wins it is going to love it. And is not going to sell the car to make a profit. They're going to drive the crap out of it and love the car. Obviously, that being said, by the way, I'm going to be driving that car for about 6 months once it's built. Because obviously we have to make sure it's, number one, it's safe to drive. Number two, it works and it has to be reliable. I will give you guys, the winner of the car is going to get a full mechanic tool set, okay? So they can take care of it. I will try to contact Liquid Moly, maybe give you guys a year's supply of oil changes. If not, I'll pay for it. That's not a big deal. Give you guys everything you need to take care and own this car. I want you guys to be proud of being a European enthusiast and be proud that you can do it yourself. Okay. Sasha Brown, I don't know yet. Right now, it's literally a step-by-step scenario. I do have a turbo. I actually have the turbo already for the car. Right over here. Let me go grab it. Right here. Yes, if you do win, it will be up to your responsibility to ship the car out of the country. I will give you all the paperwork needed to make it your car, but I cannot pay for the shipping. But I will give you guys the opportunity to win it. Number one, I'll get the contest is open worldwide. It's not going to be a U.S. only contest. It's 100% worldwide. Oh God, this thing's heavy. This is a Garrett, by the way. This is a Garrett T3 twin scroll turbo. This is what's going in there. AR50, I believe, 2-inch billet wheel. Never been mounted, never been installed. It still has the factory gasket installed on it, but it's never been used. So we're going to be using this one. And yes, you can win the car. Anybody outside of the U.S., I'm giving this the opportunity for anyone to win. What's going on, Garage AI? So we already tore down an entire engine in under 3 hours, technically. Under 3 hours is what we've done. And we're going to go get it machined and get it taken care of. I am currently talking with Integrated Engineering to see if they want to be a part of this project. Obviously, we're not going to go cheap on components and internals and all that. So I definitely want to put a lot of love into it. If not, we'll go with 034. Motorsports as another company. I mean, I'm open to different companies, but I want to support local companies. IE and 034 are definitely more local to us. So I'm definitely going to use it to help the economy because we are suffering here in this country right now. So I'm going to do the best I can to take care of people and local businesses and obviously help you guys too. You know, this is going to be fun, super, super fun build. So get excited because the Mark IV.
Turn it on. Turn the TV on.
You got to use this button right
That one. Oh no, I forgot to do it.
ECS, I'd love to work with ECS, but ECS is kind of like a third-party provider. They don't make a lot of parts for the Mark IV platform. IE and 034 makes everything I need for an engine. Maybe other stuff, yes, but ECS unfortunately doesn't make anything for Corrados, number one. So I'm trying to make a big stir. What's going on? What's going on, Ishmael? I'm trying to make a big stir that old cars are not old. They're just older, you know, and we're here to build them. We're here to take care of them and make them better. So thank you again, everyone. Awesome, awesome fun DIY or live teardown of that. I'm going to make my way to San Marcos, California, to Paradise Motorsports. Phenomenal machine shop. I work with everybody there, and they just do good stuff. I love their quality of work and craftsmanship, so I definitely will invest with them because they're awesome. Great little mom and pop shop. Very, very good at what they do, and I'm going to keep working with them. All right? So thank you, everyone. And again, thanks for tuning in for the live segment. I got to get to work. Erwin Hernandez, probably next year. Next year will be the process of giving away this car because it's actually very, very hard to find parts for this. So yeah, trying to find replacement parts on this car has been very, very difficult. So, but it's been fun. You know, I think I love the difficulty behind it. And so it makes it exciting to find parts and find someone who has parts for me. New or old and used. I just make sure that if it's an old part, it's good stuff. Oh yeah, no, we'll do live. We're gonna do as much stuff live. I will be slapping a camera on my head as often as possible to record it in a much higher quality, Sasha. That way we can have two forms of everything as we go along this build process. All right. But thank you again, everyone, for tuning in this awesome episode of PNGL's Garage Live. We'll see you later in the week when we get the engine back, and hopefully we get a response from either 034 or IE Integrated Engineering with some help and big orders coming in. After this, all the orders come in, I need you guys to come up with some ideas for the interior. We're not going to be using a factory interior. It's going to be a fully race-inspired interior. So let's think about some stuff. You guys outside of the country, if you guys have some really cool old school Recaros that you're willing to sell me for a reasonable price, I would love to take them off your hands and have them shipped here to the U.S. and I'll have them reupholstered. If not, we're just going to go with boring, you know, newer style racing seats. But again, I mean, you guys outside of the country, you guys have some really, really cool old school car seats that I'm more than willing to spend some decent money on, you know, for some cool stuff to put in this car. I would love to use more period correct stuff if possible. If not, oh well, not a big deal. But yes, definitely bucket seats are going to be installed in this, but something that reclines. We want some comfort. But you guys, again, outside of the country, I'm willing to pay for the shipping. And again, a decent set of Recaros, European Recaros, but older stuff, you know, definitely would invest in it. And Ishmael, you'd be surprised. It's actually pretty easy to find some old school seats. It's just really a matter of people willing to sell them. That's the problem. You'd be surprised how many people are not willing to sell their old stuff. Right, Bangin'? I agree. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for this awesome live episode. A little quickie one. I'm going to get back to work, dropping off this engine. Probably go live at the machine shop, introduce you guys to the shop and everybody else there. Yeah, Momo's legit, too. I'm definitely interested in Momo stuff, but they're not cheap, man. That's not cheap stuff. But we can definitely figure something out. Yeah, I know, Tiny. That's what I'm saying. Shipping's not cheap. Again, thanks again for tuning in. Have a wonderful day and be safe out there. And as always, here at Pinchal's Garage, what do we do, guys? Come on. Put it in the comment. What do we always do here at Pinchal's Garage? What is it? Hi!
We're having a baby come. Where's the baby? Yeah.
Lonnie?
Yeah. Well, hello.
Exactly. We're going to break. Oh, there's the baby in the corner. She's so mad.
I'm Lonnie.
That's right. We're going to break. We're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. Family's all here, but we're done. And peace out, everyone. Have a wonderful day. I see the baby.
Hi, baby. Hi.
All right, guys. See you later.